Hello, welcome to Mojo Talks. I am Susan Porter, the founder and creative force behind Mojo Original. Mojo Talks was designed to help you grow both personally and professionally. We'll have different segments centered on personal and professional growth, tips that you can apply in your everyday life, and ways to help you move forward and advance in your career. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to get ahead at work. And I'm trying my microphone today, but I think I'm going to unplug and just go ahead and go live through my laptop. Okay, so here we are. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so Mojo Talks is focusing on how to get ahead at work. And throughout the 5 tips that we'll provide, if you have any questions along the way, please be sure to type them in comments and I'll definitely answer any questions that you may have. When you think about moving ahead at work, it'd be fantastic if all of us worked in an environment where those who were responsible for leading us were as invested in our professional growth as we are. But here's the deal. The only person that's accountable for your professional growth is you. If you want to move forward and move ahead, you have to take the necessary steps and action to help you achieve your goals. Not everyone sees the value that a strong team brings. Some of that could be because of insecurity. Some of that could be because they don't have the tools necessary to develop other people. So by applying a few things and making some changes and adjustments in what you do and how you navigate and move forward in your career, you can take control of your professional advancement and achieve and move into the position and the role that you desire to have. So the first step in how to get ahead at work is that you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. This is a pearl of wisdom that was given to me when I first moved into a corporate recruiting job. So if you think about the environment you work in today's world, the business casual, I think, has gone to the extreme, right? You can wear tennis shoes to work, you can wear your khakis, t-shirts. Sometimes we look at our team members and we wonder if they're going to work or if they're just going out to do grocery shopping. And that's perfectly fine. I'm all for being comfortable at work, and if your office environment allows you to dress casually, then more power to you. It's great to be able to wear jeans or to wear khakis or t-shirts, to wear tennis shoes, to not have to wear heels or a suit or a tie. But if you want to move ahead, if you want to be noticed, you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Think about those in management positions within your company. Even if they do adhere to the business casual attire, they didn't dress that way always. In order to be noticed and stand out, you have to separate yourself from the masses. You do that, again, through what's your goal. So you're in a customer service position, an entry-level position, or a non-managerial position in your company. But your goal is to move into a role of leadership. You can begin by making some small changes. Let's say that you don't want to come in and wear a 3-piece suit, but when you wear khakis and a blouse, maybe you include a suit jacket. A suit jacket alone can definitely dress up an outfit. As a gentleman and you have on slacks and a button down, perhaps you wear a tie. On occasion, you do wear a jacket to work. Again, it's small changes that you can make that allow you to stand out. I know that this is something that I've shared with many people, and it does make a difference. The first impression that someone has of you is what they see. Before you ever open your mouth, before you ever utter a word, show them what you can do, perform in your role, the first thing that anyone notices is how you look, your appearance. And so when you're wanting to move ahead in work, the best way and the fastest way to get noticed is by how you dress. So you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Wear a cardigan, wear a suit jacket, wear a tie, whatever that may be, but you're stepping up your appearance from those around you. The second way that you're able to get ahead at work is to be open, positive, and flexible. Now, this is something that is easier said than done. Think about times when you perhaps have been asked to take on additional responsibility. We're often asked to do something else, and our first inclination may be to complain, to be negative, to why am I having to do this extra work? To look for the negative in the situation, instead of recognizing that when we're open, positive, and flexible, we're setting an example that shows that we're willing to take on additional challenges. I recall a time when I was asked to do not only my job, but the job of two others who were still working in their position and getting paid for the job I was asked to do. And as I mentioned before, I could have been negative and complained. I could have said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to take on this additional responsibility, but I didn't. I remained open, positive, and flexible, took on the additional role, and respected the fact that my management trusted me enough to handle this additional responsibility. When has there been a time for you that you were asked to do something outside of your job role, outside of the core function of your job responsibility? How did you respond? Were you open and you took on the additional role without any hesitation whatsoever? Did you complain and talk to your teammates about how unbelievable it is that you were asked to do all of this extra work? Did you say, I'm not doing any of this extra work unless I get paid for it? What was your attitude? If you answered yes to any of the questions I just asked, then that's the first thing you need to change. You need to change your attitude. You need to recognize that sometimes we're expected to do more than what we may initially be responsible for. But if we take on those additional challenges and we have a good attitude and we are supportive of what's being asked of us, it will benefit and pay off for us in the long run. It definitely did for me. Through the process of taking on the role of two other people in addition to my own, those other two people were eventually deselected from the company. I was given a promotion and a pay increase. So it benefited me from remaining open, positive, and flexible. And it will benefit you as well. But again, it comes back to how do you respond when you're asked to take on those additional challenges. The third step in getting ahead at work is you have to take risk and don't be afraid to fail. If you think about failure, oftentimes we're afraid to take risk because we don't want to fail, because we don't want to show weakness. We don't want to show our inability to get a job done. So we play it safe. We stay in our safe zone of what we know how to do, in a role that we can perform with our eyes closed. But taking risk and not being afraid to fail, and when you do fail, being able to recover from that failure, is a great example of leadership. It's a great example of your perseverance. It's a great example of your ability to think beyond what's in front of you and see the picture that's ahead. So how can you take risk in your current role? What are some things that you're being asked to do, or some ideas or things that you see happening that if you took a risk and just put yourself out there, you could help to move yourself forward? Maybe it's not even where you currently are. Maybe the risk is taking on a completely different role, applying for the job that you think you may not yet be ready for. Instead of waiting until you are completely trained and you have all the fundamentals under your belt, go ahead and apply for that next step. Take that job out of state, apply for that promotional position, take a risk. The greatest thing I ever did in my career was moving out of state. They closed our Oklahoma City office when I worked for Bank of America, and they gave me a choice. I could either stay in Oklahoma and work in a banking center and become a banking center manager, or I could continue in the role of a recruiter and working on the corporate side of banking and move. The move would require me moving to either Austin, Phoenix, or Maryland. And did I mention they gave me 2 weeks to make this decision and relocate? Well, I took the risk. I took the risk and I relocated and I moved to Austin. And because of that, I was able to, one, prove to myself that I could do it, two, advance and move forward in my career, and learn things that I never would have learned had I stayed in my safe zone in Oklahoma. So what is your risk? What is it that you could do that perhaps is something that could be holding you back, or a risk that you could take that you've just been afraid to do so? Maybe it's moving out of state. Perhaps it's applying for that next opportunity. But whatever it is, take the risk and don't be afraid of the failure. When you do, you'll surprise yourself. You'll grow tremendously along the way, and it will only benefit you further along as you move forward. The fourth way to get ahead at work is you have to know your worth and back it up. We live in an environment where we're paid a salary to do a job. Sometimes the salary may match the job, sometimes it does not. But don't be afraid to ask for what you're worth. Don't be afraid to let someone know, this is what I can contribute. This is what I know I can bring to this organization. I feel that I am worthy of XYZ income, and I have the skill set to back it up. Have you ever taken that chance on yourself? Have you ever said to someone, I know my value and I'm going to prove to you what it is, and this is what I'm asking for in return. You take a chance on me and I'm going to take a chance on you. I have a team member who says that all the time. She asked the company to take a chance on her, and in turn, she told them she was going to take a chance on them. She knew her value and her worth, and she was able to back it up. So what is that for you? Now, the first thing is to determine what that value is. For each of us, it's something different. But whatever it may be, are you able to back it up? And how do you back it up? Well, you back it up through your contribution. You back it up through your attitude. You back it up through your ideas. You back it up through your ability to take risk and to be creative and innovative. You back it up through your actions. There was a time where I was offered a position, and the salary that I was offered was a pretty good salary. I accepted the position, and later in the day, I thought about it. And I thought, man, I'm really going to have to put in a lot of long hours in this position. I know what I can do and what I can contribute. I called back and I asked for more money. I hadn't even started yet. I accepted the job, but I hadn't started. I knew that one of two things were going to happen. That one, they were either going to say, okay, and I get what I wanted, or they would say no, and then I had a choice to make. Now, the choice that I was prepared to make was to accept the original position and prove that I was worth what I came back and asked for. Now, fortunately for me, they actually did meet my salary requirement and increase my starting pay. But I backed it up. I worked hard, I worked smart, I was creative, I was innovative, I fostered teamwork, and I used all of my past experience to bring forward into my new role and continue to learn new skills and new ways and ideas of doing things. So what does that look like for you? What is your worth, and how do you back it up? Don't be afraid to ask, but be prepared to show that you're worthy. The fifth step in how to get ahead at work is you have to see the big picture. Leaders understand the big picture. They don't live in the small bubble of where we are in this one moment. They understand the grand scheme of things. So what is the big picture for you? I believe that in today's ever-changing market, companies need and desire entrepreneurs. They need people who think like business owners. They need people who understand the end result and are prepared to work backward to get there. How do you see the big picture? When something new is presented, do you focus on the immediate small impact, the change that may include, the discomfort that may cause for a short period of time, the additional hours you may have to put in, the additional training you may have to go through? Do you focus on the small picture, or do you understand the big picture that lays ahead? Do you understand the big picture and have an understanding of the why, so that you can see the steps that have to be made today in order to achieve that big goal. Are you thinking like a business owner, or do you think like a worker? We're talking about how to move forward and how to get ahead at work. And companies need individuals who think like business owners, who understand the risk, who understand the leadership, who understand the determination that it takes in order to achieve a goal. So it's working with the end in mind. How do you see the big picture, and how do you contribute to that? Personal growth, professional growth, moving forward, it's 100% self-driven. Now, yes, it does take others around you to help you move forward. I mean, we just can't say, I'm going to be CEO tomorrow and it happens, right? We do have to put forth action, and we do depend on others to recognize our efforts and to allow us to move forward in our career in the way that we so desire. We do depend on the support of those around us. That we can't control. But what we can control is how we perform each and every day. What we can control is how we present ourselves on a daily basis. If we come to work ready and prepared, professionally dressed, ready to tackle the day that's in front of us. What we can control is whether or not we're open, positive, and flexible. If we have a good attitude about things, or if we only see the negative. Do we work to find solutions, or do we only focus on the problems? What we can control is our ability to take risks and to not be afraid to fail, to step outside of our comfort zone, to do something different than what we've ever done in order to achieve a result that we've yet to achieve. What we can control is understanding our worth and our value and being able to back it up, having the skills necessary to help us move forward in our career. And what we also can control is our ability to see the big picture, to understand the end in mind, and to work throughout our day and with our actions to achieve that goal. So how do you get ahead at work? The 5 steps that I provided are 5 steps that I have not only done personally, but I've worked and coached and helped others to do the same as well. A client of mine shared with me that she was applying for a promotional position. And she said, in my work environment, everyone dresses really casual, so I just don't know what that looks like for me. I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb coming into work in professional attire. So we talked about what that looks like to make sure that she, one, stood out to the leaders in her company, but that she didn't make herself too outside of her own comfort zone. So we started by, I said, okay, so when you wear jackets at work, do you wear like a hoodie jacket? Do you wear a suit jacket? What does that look like for you? And initially she would wear like a hoodie, and I said, well, why don't you start with making the change of wearing a suit jacket? Instead of wearing tennis shoes, no, you don't have to wear high heels, but you could wear loafers. You could wear a nice kitten heel. And so she started making those changes. And lo and behold, guess what happened? People started to take notice. They noticed her because she stood out from the crowd. They noticed her because not only when she started dressing differently did she stand out from a visual standpoint, but she started behaving differently. She started performing differently and carrying herself differently. The clothes don't make the man makes the clothes, or the clothes make the man doesn't make the clothes. In whichever way that saying goes, when you dress up, you carry yourself differently. When you dress professionally, you carry yourself differently. She was open, she was positive, and she was flexible. They had become short-staffed in her department. She took on additional responsibility without even being asked. And when more was given to her, it required some later hours, she took it on with no problem whatsoever. She took some risks. She found that some systems were not working in her department. She made some changes before she rolled it out to the rest of the team. She was able to show and prove that her ideas worked. She took the risk, she wasn't afraid to fail, and then she shared with her management team what she had done and the results that she was able to obtain. When the time did come that she was able to apply for the promotional position, she knew her worth. Not only did she know she could back it up, she had already proven so. And so when they offered her starting pay, she countered and got what she asked for. And because of that, she has continued to move forward. She sees the big picture of the company, and I know for a fact she is on a fast track to success. She's on a fast track to leadership. And it's all very simple and it's all very tangible. It's whether or not we're willing to do the things that are required to obtain the results we want to obtain. So the 5 ways to get ahead at work, to recap for you all, is you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Be open, positive, and flexible. Take risk, don't be afraid to fail. Know your worth and back it up. And finally, see the big picture. So what's my challenge to you? My challenge to you is to go back and reassess where you currently are. Take a look at the role you're in. If you're happy in the position you're in, fantastic. You can still apply the 5 steps that I've already provided. But if you know that you're ready for the next step, you want to be considered for the promotion when it's available. You want to apply for that next job that's going to help move you forward in your career. Review those 5 tips and identify how to apply them for yourself and what that will look like as you move forward. Take each day, make some small changes starting tomorrow. Maybe wear that suit jacket tomorrow, or instead of wearing tennis shoes, you wear loafers or heels. Be positive and open and flexible when your team members start to complain. Don't complain and join the pity party. Separate yourself by changing your attitude. Take some risk. There are some things I know going on in your office or your department within your team that you can identify don't work. Become part of the solution, not a part of the problem. When the time comes for you to review your salary or to talk about your performance, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. What's the worst thing that they can say? No. But at least it opens up a conversation. At least it opens up an opportunity for dialogue to talk about your growth in your career. And focus on seeing the big picture. Don't get so caught up in the little small details of what's going on that you're unable to recognize the bigger goal at hand, that you're unable to recognize how you play a part in your company's success or in your company's failure. Focus on the big picture and work on the steps to help make that goal achievable. I would love for you to share your feedback with me. I would love to partner and help you move forward as you work to advance yourself professionally. Feel free to send an email to mojooriginal13@gmail.com and share with me how you've applied these 5 tips. You can also comment back on this post on any of the things that you've done and how they've benefited you. I also ask that you share this post. I guarantee you there are other people out there who feel stuck, who don't know how they're going to move forward, who don't have the benefit of working with leaders who are invested in who they are as individuals, who are invested in helping them to become greater contributors, not only to the company, but just for themselves. So share this post and let others understand the ways that they can help themselves move forward. And again, share your feedback. I'd love to know how these steps have been working for you. Mojo Talks is something that we'll begin to share with you on a monthly basis. It'll be a 15 to 30-minute segment focused on something you can do immediately to grow yourself both personally and professionally. I am Susan Porter with Mojo Original, the founder and creative force behind Mojo Original, Mojo Talks, and Mojo Book Club. This has been a fantastic evening with you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great night. And remember, Mojo Original is here to help you find your mojo.